Right. Go.
This is the book, The True Cost of Coal. It was written by protesters. They are working to stop environmental disease. Here's the book. Our story begins with the creation of coal in the ancient marshlands and forests of old. The plants that lived there never got to decay. Instead, their carbon got buried away. The original people, they lived with the land. They took from it too, but they worked it by hand. This method did limit how much they could take, which worked out much better for everyone's sake. Then the colonists came, bringing their baggage. They brought disease too and did lots of damage. Treaties were signed by the Cherokee chiefs to keep land for their nation and live on in peace. Although the U.S. signed these treaties before, the settlers were greedy. They still wanted more. The treaties they tore, people's rights they ignored, while the Cherokee Phoenix would report and record. The Cherokee Phoenix was a bilingual newspaper written in Cherokee and English that spread the news of the Cherokee resistance to forced relocation. The Cherokee rewritten language was invented by a Cherokee man named Sequoyah less than a decade before their forced removal. They petitioned, protested, and sued in their courts, but the U.S. president removed them by force. They walked through the winter with so little food. Many died on the journey. They cried as they moved. The Cherokee, along with the Choctaw, Seminole Creek, and Chickasaw nations, were forced to make a new home in Oklahoma, and their trek was known as the Trail of Tears. Their forests cut down, train tracks stretched for miles, coal, cotton, and lumber. To make money piles, wanting homes and employment, the settlers moved west and got trapped in the company towns with their debts. Workers weren't paid in money, just company script that they had to give back for their food and their rent. Enough was enough. The miners fought back. They picked up their guns and they launched an attack. They wore red bandanas. They shut down the mines. They went out on strike and they held picket lines. The government sided with the bosses, of course, and they set in the army to use lethal force. One of the biggest labor struggles fought in the U.S. history, the Battle of Blair Mountain, saw over 12,000 miners march on the seat of coal company power in armed resistance to repressive military and unsafe working conditions. In retaliation, the coal operators summoned the U.S. National Guard to quell the uprising. But the plight of the workers would soon get much better. They sang with the union, "Solidarity forever." But as soon as things moved in the working man's favor, a monster appeared and replaced most of their labor. A continuous mire crushed coal in their lives, so the community as a whole had to get organized. They picketed and lobbied, even broke those machines. But at the movement's peak, they sold out by big greens. Rather than stopping the mechanization, these green groups got pushed for mere regulation. Mountains got destroyed even more than before, and those miners, they couldn't find work anymore. In the 1970s, big green groups such as the Sierra Club and Environmental Policy Center used their lobbying power to push for regulation of mountaintop removal mining rather than an abomination bill. This resulted in the passage of the Surface Mining Control Reclamation Act, SMCRA, which the Big Green celebrated, but the coalfield residents and regional environmental groups called this a blatant travesty and a betrayal. This legislation worked to legitimize strip mining and made the goal of abomination unattainable. The machines just got meaner and badder and bigger, and the people got poorer and sadder and sicker. The coal fueled the wars and consumption and greed. The climate was changing to chaos with speed. But the rich just got richer. Cold smoke filled the sky. They made inside deals that would keep profits high. It was clear to the people who watched from below they'd have to rise up and resist and say no. They passed out petitions and signed with their paws. They held up permits by studying laws. They tested the waters, the coal trucks they blocked. They made painted banners and rallied a lot. Some people resisted while others rebuilt the local economy of soil and silt. They cleaned up the toxins with mushrooms and plants, built kitchens and gardens, and wrote music and danced. The fences came down. First Peoples reclaimed the land that they've been missing, traditions and ways. All the peoples united. The monster was dead. There's wind, sun, and currents that we use instead. Seeds to be saved, rainwater to collect, and community was built around love and respect. The people in the cities kept busy and buzzing, but now they were working together on something. They built housing collectives. They made better decisions. They figured out life without coal or emissions. We all have a role that we build from below. How will you help your community grow?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. This is Sandy Awesome. Please subscribe to my channel. Bye.
Awesome.